Sorry to interrupt your breakfast, but our overseer wanted to say a quick hello. Overseer Benjamin, this is Lucy and Titus.
Hey, guys. Just wanted to say hi.
Hello.
And obviously, welcome to Vault 4. Just some housekeeping, a few things to be aware of. Stay out of level 12. Obviously, we'd prefer you not go there. Oh, and we only have one foosball table. So if you want to play, you gotta sign up. If there's no pencil on the sign-up sheet, please let me know. I do have pencils. And if you're unfamiliar with how the bathrooms work, just ask. Asking is less embarrassing than getting it wrong. Trust me, we've had incident after incident with newcomers. Okay, that should cover it. Any questions or concerns beyond foosball or pencils or bathrooms, Birdie's available. And once again, welcome to Vault 4. We're glad to have you.
TBTL!
That was really terrible, but everyone does that kind of stuff sometimes. It happens like once, or twice, or 3 times in every life, or twice. Once.
How'd it go?
Well, he's gonna acknowledge me on Instagram, so I guess you could say it was one of the best conversations of my entire life.
I saved a life. My own. Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yes.
I'm not very good with chit-chat. I like a structured communication. I like a hard out. Chit, chat. Oh, chit. Where are we going with that?
It's kind of weird. I feel like I'm being interrogated, but by someone who doesn't really want to know anything important.
For the sake of customer service, try to chill out, my mom.
Stinky! All right, hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Monday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
I say, what's up, dog?
My name's Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
Oh my God, he admitted it!
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia. Absolutely beautiful day.
Oh, Ma, Pa, it's just beautiful.
As I watch my dad, my 70-something-year-old dad, Walt, go up and down a ladder, replacing a window in the top story of my little house here. As I sit in here talking to all of you for my job. What a weird life. And yet, somehow it's been going on for so long. I'm talking about 4,504 episodes of this in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
That's where we have arrived on this Monday, and we are going to get an update, a live update from Friendship, Wisconsin.
Making Friends is the name of this show.
Where we have TBTL employee numero uno, John Sklaroff, doing some very important advance work in advance of the TBTL-a-Thon. I don't even know what number of TBTL-a-Thon we're going to be on, but I do know it is going to start in 2 weeks, the 21st of July. We will be in Friendship, Wisconsin, broadcasting live from the Historical Society there on Main Street. So we're going to hear what it's looking like down there, over there, up there, around there, coming up. Also, Black Sabbath played its final concert this weekend.
I'm ready to smoke the world with the rock and roll. Good deal.
And, I'm not a Black Sabbath head per se. I found it oddly affecting, seeing Ozzy up there singing Mama, I'm Coming Home for the final time. So maybe we'll get into that. Also, we'll get into this guy's life. He's the longest-running Cobra of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships. Speaking of that rock and roll lifestyle.
The man who brought the rock and roll edge to the Eagles.
By that we mean Eagles Airy #1 on Lake City Way. He's Andrew Welsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
They told me to leave the rock and roll edge at the door. I said, I can't do that.
I noticed that the Airy #1, the one that you belong to, was actually closed for the 4th of July, which makes sense so the folks that work there can have their July 4th off. But it also seems like exactly the kind of place people might want to go on the 4th of July.
I didn't know that, but I don't know. Like, I love our Eagles area, but it doesn't have like an outdoor area. I think a lot of people, especially because it's such a beautiful day, there would maybe be one or two people who would maybe sit in there and nurse a drink or two. But I also think it's like a staffing issue. I know that we're short-staffed and everything, and so it probably just doesn't make sense to have somebody, there just to take care of one or two customers on the 4th of July. Although I guess you're thinking like because it's like a fraternal organization wrapped up in the flag or whatever. Yeah,
I guess maybe that would more be like the American Legion or something, where people want to go on the 4th of July to feel patriotic. Oh, this is, of course, a very complicated 4th of July. I feel like the main conversation that I had this 4th of July is, what a weird 4th of July. What a weird feeling to sort of live in this country and love this country and love the ideals of this country, but think about the current state of things and then ask yourself, should I put on some red, white, and blue and go shoot off some fireworks over this?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, even under the last administration, we have this pattern now in our world where the Supreme Court clears its docket like right before the 4th of July, and the way the court has been for the past while now, it's always like this barrage of like anti-freedom news that comes out like days before we're supposed to go out there and celebrate our so-called freedom, or everybody's so-called freedom. I'm doing fine, but so that's always been sort of an issue to me. I mean, it kind of, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show. I mean, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Like, somebody asked me to go to one of the baseball games around, I don't know if it was like the July 3rd fireworks night or the July 4th daytime game or what it was, but I asked like a month ago or more, and I was like, no, I am steering clear of anything that will, have the whiff of patriotism. I can't be around that. I can't.
As long as Neil Gorsuch can barbecue up some hot dogs on July 4th without a lot of important cases hanging over his head. We like him to be able to get that clear so that he can just really enjoy his 4th of July.
That's right. I'm glad somebody's having a good time out there. Can I tell you something? This is a huge change in the conversation. It's not because I'm scared of it. It's just because I was doing something right as you were introducing me, and I'm processing a lot of information here. And it begins with my phone. Without sounding like a total Luddite, I got a new phone recently, and one thing that I've sort of noticed is the things that are set to give me push notifications have sort of gotten shooken up a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, your notifications are not particularly well, what would it be? Not moderated, but curated at this point. Like you're getting, I get this from Safeway. Like there is no one I want to hear from less than Safeway, but somehow they have snuck through my push notification sort of rubric.
Yes, although for me right now, I'm not getting, with the example that I'm about to give, I'm not getting tons of like kind of spammy stuff, but it seems inconsistent with my old phone, like what is giving me updates and what isn't as far as apps are concerned, because like I don't want to, I'm not trying to like big dog or whatever, but I have a Yahoo mail account that I still use. Like it's like my tertiary account or something like that. I know. It's there's a lot of privilege there in having this Yahoo account. That it was my very first like third-party email account, and I guess I can't say the name of it. It's a ridiculous name, yet I remember in like 1998 being surprised nobody had taken that. I was like, nobody's taken this name? And everybody in the newsroom was like, yeah, why would they take that email name?
Is it seriously at yahoo.com? So that it's a play on the Australian actor Yahoo Seriously from the 80s.
Yahoo Serious Film Festival.
That guy really had a moment, at least in the age cohort I was in. We talked a lot about Yahoo Seriously in the 80s.
Do you remember the Simpsons joke about the Yahoo Serious Film Festival? No. I have the drop of it here, but I think I cut out, believe it or not, I had to cut out the Yahoo Serious reference because I wanted to make it work for us as a generic drop. It's Lisa looking up, it must be the Simpsons Film Festival episode or something, or maybe it's unrelated to that. Either way, there's some scene where she's walking under a marquee and it says Yahoo Serious Film Festival, and she says, I understand those words, but that sign makes no sense. As in, how could there be a Yahoo Serious Film Festival?
Yeah.
I can't find it on the fly while I'm talking. Anyway, I'm already making this too long. Point is, my new phone, for example, will not give me updates on my, like, when I get a Yahoo email, which is kind of important because sometimes sometimes I'm like trying to get through security on something. I'm trying to get my baseball tickets or whatever. And it's like, well, we've emailed you the confirmation link at your Yahoo email address. And it's kind of like, oh, why am I not getting notifications? And why isn't Yahoo serious here or whatever? So there are some apps that I could use a little bit more nudging from. But then there's another app that you have heard of, I believe, called TikTok, which I barely touch. On my old phone, I got no notifications from TikTok. I must have just turned it off at one point because I don't really play in that space all that much. But when I got my new phone, it started serving me up push notifications, and I was like, I'm so checked out from social media. I'll just like see what the push notifications on TikTok say from time to time. For some reason, I decided not to turn them off. One thing that I do believe I told my phone, though, was no TikTok, you cannot have access to my contacts. You know how when an app is new, it's like, hey, it would be great if I could have access to your contacts and then I can figure out who else is on this social media platform and maybe hook you up with old friends. And I'm like, no, those are my private contacts. I don't want Tiki-Taki going in there and reading my address book.
Yeah.
I swear I told it no. But I keep getting push notifications now that say, hey, from your contacts, this person is on TikTok.
Yeah,
and
I get that too.
Yeah, and that's a little, it feels a little, because they asked, I'm pretty sure I said no, because I if I have this feeling, I wouldn't have said yes, yet somehow TikTok decided just to go. I'm sure it's a good company. Like, I'm sure there's no security issues there. It's fine. All of that is to say, you know how you often will say now, sort of in my head too, like when you say, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time, and you take a drag off. Like, I keep on seeing these names.
Yes.
Because it's somebody I put in my address book as a professional contact years and years and years, somebody I was booking or whatever. And just as you were introducing me, I mean, I apologize for being distracted.
Would I know this person?
Well, that's the question. I know that you worked with this person. I think if I say this name, you will... I feel like it might be hard to get you to remember them because I don't think you work closely with them, but we did share a newsroom with this person at one point.
Is it James Ranishevitz?
It's not James Ranishevitz. It's not somebody who was ever part of my social circle.
Okay, this is a person. Was it Dan Restione?
It's not Dan Restione. I would say that Dan was sort of adjacent to my social circle. This isn't somebody that you and I...
But this is somebody from Cairo.
It is somebody from Cairo. But it's from like... I'll tell you what, it's from the first Heather Bosch era, and it's not Heather Bosch. It's not Tim Hake.
Tim Hake on TikTok.
Yes, Tim Hake.
I would look at Tim Hake talk. I'd smash the like button on that.
Yes, Hake talk. I love that.
If people are wondering, yes, this is the part of the show where I just name people that Andrew and I used to kind of vaguely work with for 1 to 2 hours. That's what this is going to be. That's going to be the whole show today.
When I say the Heather Bosch era, does that help you at all? Because I feel like this person and Heather Bosch were sort of on similar career trajectories at the time. That's a very difficult thing for me to say.
So was this person a reporter?
This was a reporter.
Is it Jessica Gottesman?
No. I forgot about Jessica. Yes, of course. Jessica.
So much fun for us and so unbelievably boring for the listeners.
You want to see another hamburger? Come on. This is good. This is going to be good for something.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Do we get any negative feedback on that?
I don't even know if that's on the internet yet. I think John's been busy getting down to Friendship, Wisconsin. So we've had a slight delay, thankfully, in the world seeing just how... You look great. You look absolutely normal.
Well, I look like a guy who's just casually eating a burger. It sucks.
And I look like an absolute freak. This is from Friday's show when we tried to do this Big Mac challenge. I mean, it's like, I won, but I lost, okay? I managed to eat my Big Mac, finish it 3 seconds before you did, but like at what cost to my soul? And by the way, to my brand. I look I've got special sauce all over my face. My eyes are tearing up. I'm like, it's a bad look. Meanwhile, you just look like normal and chill. You're just like eating a burger.
Yeah, it's not. And again, I came very close to finishing in time. Not quite. As you said, it was all still in the upper deck. I didn't get the last swallow in. But I really, so in the moment, I mean, I just have never done a food challenge before. So I was really like kind of, I was beside myself for the rest of that show. And then, even narrating your
because you felt like you could have done it if you would have.
Well, that and I had a lot of adrenaline and the stomach and I was so hungry, but the food hadn't hit my stomach yet because I ate it so fast. But I was just in my head about a lot of things. And so I don't think I was a good analyst of my own experience until later when you sent me just sort of because I had never seen this on TikTok before. We're going to come back. You're going to continue to name people in the Cairo newsroom in the 2010
Is it
era.
Ursula Reutin?
It's not Ursula. It's not Ursula. I don't think you're gonna get it, but I also could just do this forever. The question is, can you? I was just gonna say that I later on that evening, I think it was Friday night, or Thursday or something. You sent me a video of like just some rando, a young woman on TikTok doing the challenge, and that was like the first time I'd ever seen anybody except for you and I do it. And then also rewatching you do yours, it really underscored the fact that this, even putting aside the fact that I would have gagged on that sauce because I don't like that kind of sauce, the sauciness of that adds to the difficulty. I know we said, well, to a certain degree, it can lubricate the experience of trying to eat this burger fast, but I'm seeing that it's an impediment. It's all over your face. At one point, like you said, you even wiped your face. Like, it is caloric. Like, I had no idea there was so much sauce on a Big Mac because I ordered mine without it, and seeing you monsters do it, I'm like, no, I don't. I think with the sauce, I would have been like 20 seconds behind or 15 seconds behind. I think I have a bit of stolen valor, is my point.
I listen. If the result for me would have been looking less freakish, and it would have either taken me longer or short. I just wish I would have done whatever it would take for me to not look the way I look in that video. But you know what? The whole thing was my idea, and it will be going out on Instagram, I think probably at some point today or tomorrow. So, at the very least, people better smash that like button. It better get a lot of interaction because it is somewhat humiliating. Okay, back to naming nuts.
It's not Jessica Gottesman. That's such a good poll, and also I miss her. She was a good colleague.
Absolutely, a true professional, Jessica Gottesman. It's it's not Aaron Covey though, right?
It's not Aaron Covey. I never had the pleasure.
It's not the voice of.
Oh, Ma, Pa, it's just beautiful.
Nope, it's not that, and it's not. Okay. I also never had the pleasure of meeting the person who was a TBTL legend for her discussion of Ross Dress for Less.
Oh, sure, that was Katie Springer.
Katie Springer, who went on to
produce
good
various
career in
radio projects.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's not Katie Springer.
Nope, never met her. Always a fan though.
But I heard this person's name.
I mean, that's why I think this game is so interesting, because I'm sure you've had conversations with this person while they were at Cairo, but it just wasn't somebody we paled around with. I will say that.
And I want to translate to the listeners. Andrew means palled around with. He doesn't mean put into a bucket and carried around.
I think it's fine. Volkswagen. You said Volkswagen twice on Friday. I didn't interrupt to clarify.
No.
Just let it lie.
Sorry.
But anyway, so that's why I think this is interesting. Is it's just it's. I mean, do you want gender? Do you want more details?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I will say that this was a young man. He was a bit younger than us, but he seemed like he was going places, and he was.
He was a young man who was at Cairo. He was doing news updates.
He was not doing news updates. He was a reporter.
A reporter, okay. Who was out there in the field, going places, doing things. Was it Jason Brooks?
It was not Jason Brooks.
Who's not younger than us, but is a reporter that worked there when we worked there.
I didn't know that. I don't think I knew Jason Brooks. That might have been before my time. Or I'm forgetting Jason Brooks.
Can you give me another hint to get me towards this person's name?
When I say he was going places, he was going to New York City, which is one of the reasons I connect him also with Heather, because they both got gigs at WNYC, not WNYC, whatever the big New York. I think the actual New York CBS. I think they got sucked up into the network.
Is that like 1010 Wins maybe or something? I don't know who the CBS station is in New York. You think I would know?
Well, I think it was the network though. I think it was CBS.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. The CBS, the network office of CBS.
I'm pretty sure him and Heather.
Wow, I feel like I would have tracked this because I would have been like, impressed. I would have been like bully for them if you managed to go from Cairo, from the local station to the national level. That does not ring any bells for me as far as this person.
Alex Silverman?
That name is familiar-ish. I don't think I ever worked with maybe briefly I worked with that person.
Like, we definitely worked in the same office. I know that because I never worked there when you didn't, right? Was there a period? Maybe
you weren't allowed to.
Yeah,
it's part of the contract.
I had to wait outside. I said,
yes.
Will you buzz me in? They said, only Luke can buzz you in. I was like, but I have to go potty. And they said, nope, only Luke. I was like, all right. So I just remember, but he, like I say, like, I'm not surprised you don't remember because he was just he came in. I believe we were already working there. He came in, he was maybe there for a year and then was just like, again, like a real gangbusters-y kind of reporter, not flashy, but just kind of like business and just like on a upward trajectory. I'm going to keep using that word until it feels normal in my mouth. And then he did. He went to New York and then he's bounced around. I see his last gig was there in L.A., which it looks like maybe he's
Director of News and Programming.
Unfortunately, though, it looks like that has come to an end with belt tightening or whatever it says that. But I mean, this is a man who is drawing headlines. When you type in his name, he draws headlines in various media on various media websites, which, you know, they're not like, it's not the New York Times, these what am I looking at, Radio Ink daily headlines here, but I'm certainly not, they're not spilling any Radio Ink on me, I'll tell you that much.
So you're getting these invites on TikTok to follow these people that are in the sort of distant past of your life or the outer rings of your life. I remember the first few times that happened to me when I was looking at TikTok, I didn't understand that. Well, what was actually happening was I would see people doing TikToks who were in my contacts. That's another form of this. So it's not even just going, do you want to follow so-and-so? It's just delivering their content to me because it knows that person is in my contacts. And so they think maybe I'll be more intrigued by the content. But I didn't realize that's what was happening. So there were a couple of people who I thought, oh my God, is this such and such person a TikTok celebrity?
Right.
Like I was literally like, I was like starstruck that I was seeing random friends of mine or random people that I've known who are also contacts on my phone doing a TikTok. I was like, holy, is it happening for them? Are they going viral? Am I just observing? And then I realized, no. It's just because they're one of my contacts. TikTok's trying to get me to look at their stuff.
Yeah, and again, I'm not somebody who is freaking out over TikTok or like I didn't really weigh in emotionally about banning of TikTok, the unbanning of TikTok, any of those things. But I do just sort of feel like, if there's one company that I don't, well, I mean, I guess any of them. Again, there's that thing is like what they kept on saying the red con. They didn't say the Reds, but they would say the communist China is on your phone or whatever. And it's like, so's awful Facebook and so's awful. Like I logged into WhatsApp for the first time. I'm like, oh, this is a meta thing too. Like I don't want any of them rooting around in my stuff, but it does sort of feel like TikTok is kind of like, hey, I keep trying to give you this candy and you're not walking down this candy lane that I'm kind of making for you so I can. Am I doing a Hansel and Gretel thing here? I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like TikTok is like it keeps on trying to sweeten the pot for me with these push notifications, and it's like, hey, your pal Alex Silverman is on TikTok, don't you? How about that, Andrew? I'm just like, no, I just keep ignoring them. I guess I should just turn off the push notifications. But you still got TikTok just rooting around in my junk drawer of contact information.
And meanwhile, all they need to put on their TikTok for me to watch it is amputee babies singing "Bless the Lord, oh my soul."
Yes.
That's all. That's the content. That's the content that I look for, and they've got me if they just keep producing that. They need to tell me about my contacts. Just keep, and then also Sasquatch.
Yes, please. I wanted to ask you if you could talk about this now because I know that you've been
described as a Sasquatch pastor. Although there's so much wrong with this. One, it's not a Sasquatch. I don't know if you've watched these things yet.
No. I've seen it in the show sheet. You said you're obsessed with this. I need you to describe this to me. Leave no detail out.
Okay, first of all, I've got to actually go find this. You think, even though it's been on the show sheet for over a weekend now, you think I would have this at the ready. But let me go find. I think I was, of course, texting it with our friend Television's Chris Hayes because our main form of discourse now is just comparing notes on truly weird stuff we see on TikTok. But basically, it's listed as it's called like. It's called a Sasquatch, but again, okay, here we go. I found it. It's listed as Bigfoot Sermons. Okay, so, but it's very clearly an AI ape. But this AI ape is huge and very buff and wearing like one of those mega pastor like headsets.
Oh, okay.
As it's preaching, and it's naked, but it's holding a towel, like a gym towel. and it's pacing the stage of a megachurch where it's giving a sermon. It's called Bigfoot Sermons, but again, I can't overstress this. It is an ape. It's a giant like Lord of the, or Planet of the Apes style ape. And he's naked, holding a gym towel, pacing on the church, on a mega church stage. And this is what the ape is saying.
Will you accept the free gift of Christ's salvation?
Now, this is where it gets really weird, because now it cuts to a different ape who, this one is dressed and is playing the keyboard, this somber keyboard music that you're hearing in the background. A very, very contemplative, different monkey who, again, has clothes on, is playing the keyboard for this.
To be honest, we don't deserve it.
Then there's another monkey who's in a suit, who's on the drums, who's just got his head bowed in quiet contemplation of everything.
We didn't earn his salvation. His mercy alone.
Cuts back to this enormous, massively buff, naked ape with the headset microphone and the hand towel standing back on the center of the stage.
That's the voice we're hearing?
That's the pastor. Yes,
I feel like
Pastor
the
Ape.
voice doesn't match and I'm purposely not watching this. I just want to go along for the ride the way you're setting it up. But I'm having a real disconnect between what I'm picturing and the voice coming out of this. I wanted it to be more Planet of the Apes-y, I think.
Yeah, it is like there's a bunch of different things that kind of don't make sense about this.
Is the only reason we have it.
Now there is a choir there's a choir of gorillas that are all wearing choir robes and reading the Bible and sitting behind him, just listening, again, with great concentration.
Paul tells Titus, but when the kindness and love of God, our Savior, appeared.
And now the pastor gorilla is now resting one hand on a lucite, like lectern, like podium. He's got his towel hand on the podium while he's just casually talking about this. And then somehow attached to his body, it's unclear how, is the battery pack for the headset microphone. I don't know how they attached it to his fur. Like when I'm doing a TV shoot, that has to go in my belt, kind of, they hook it into my belt. There doesn't appear to be anything holding the battery pack on his body, but he's got it.
He saved us. Not because of righteous things we had done, but because of his mercy.
I'll point out also that this pastor gorilla is not anatomically correct. He is naked, but we do not see any of his gorilla parts.
The towel is dropped?
He's been holding the towel in his hand.
I've been picturing it like he just got out of the shower and it's wrapped around his waist.
No, he's holding it like he just got done doing a set at the gym.
Oh, no, I have bad, this is on me. Oh, this whole time I'm picturing him so I see, he's just holding it sort of. Okay.
He's holding, he's just holding a hand towel in one hand for some reason as he sort of strolls around the stage. Now, here's the other thing about this content. This is oddly very, very comforting for me because it is a style of preaching that I grew up with. I mean, and peace and love to my dad, Walt, who I'm currently looking at right now. My dad was the pastor of our church for a while. I would say the sermons, whether it was my dad or even the pastors that preceded him at the church at Gospel Outreach Christian Fellowship, I would say some pastors have a way with words, some less have way. Like this is high level, like mega church pastor, sort of sermonizing that's going on that you're hearing in this tape. You're hearing a person who's really dialed in the kind of emotional impact of what they're saying and how to really deliver this in a way, and the contemplative music behind. Like this is high grade stuff that's going on.
The patience to have those swells, right? The patience and the confidence in your words that you can just let it sit there for a long time.
Exactly. This is elite sermonizing going on here, but it's sort of in the neighborhood of what I grew up with. And it, again, all of the terminology they're using about, basically we didn't deserve this. We don't this is a whole big part of the evangelical sort of, I don't know what you call it, dogma that like we're complete POSs and we don't deserve the the love that God shows us, but he did it anyway. That whole kind of rap. It's like it takes me back to a very young place because I grew up listening. Let's listen to another one.
It bothers me. Sometimes I think the God doesn't know people can change, Luke. God doesn't know people.
You think this is slicked back? This is pushed back.
Wait, hold on. You said another one. I am very into this, by the way. I could do the rest of the show like this. But what? So is that the end of that one? Are you going?
That's the end. Well, here the end. There's about 7 more seconds. The monkey choir starts singing. But I can't stress this enough. Again, all AI generated, but very hyper realistic. So that's something called Bigfoot sermons, right? But there's also something called gospel.
Will you accept the free?
There's also something called gospel with Bigfoot. There's a whole different feed of a different monkey who's preaching. This one's wearing only a polo shirt. Only a polo shirt. Let's see what this guy sounds like. This guy's supposedly, if it'll play for us anyway, it's Proverbs. Oh, it doesn't want to play for some reason. This is interesting. I wonder why. Well, this file maybe it played for somebody else. There's 94,000 likes on it. It just says Bible sermon with Bigfoot, and then it says Proverbs. So I assume that this Bigfoot / monkey is going to be talking about the book Proverbs. But this guy just has only a polo shirt on and no pants, and he has got the same kind of headset mic, a little bit different. Let's see. There's another one called Gospel with Bigfoot. It says, stop scrolling and listen to God. Let's see what this guy has to say. This is yet a different. This one is, I will say, more Bigfoot-ish than the other ones. For some reason, Gospel with Bigfoot does not want to play on my computer, which is quite disappointing. But my point is that this is a whole subsection of TikTok right now, is people somehow using AI to create monkey-like, vaguely Sasquatch-ish characters that are basically giving mega church sermons.
So, it's not often that I have the perfect idea, but I have the perfect idea because I want to see something, and it occurred to me, this could be the show. I mean, it might seem a little exploitative, but I'll just run it by you, and you let me know what you think.
Yeah.
So, obviously, especially as you were describing that first video in great detail, yet somehow I still got some of the details wrong.
Well, I said he has a towel. I could see why you would imagine he'd be wearing it.
You could naked except for a towel.
Naked
But what I'm sitting here thinking is, how would your dad react to this? If you just put a phone in front of him and said, hey, Walt, what do you make of this? Just take it all in and then give me your reaction. I'd be interested in that. And then I was like, oh, actually, your mom, too. And then I'm like, you know what I'd love? I'd love to just have eyes on and audio on like your dad watching this for the first time and then your mom watching it for the first time separately. Then they get together with you and you all have a conversation about what you just watched and their reaction to it and how they interpret it. Because, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting things here. I mean, the birth of AI is a weird, scary thing, but people always have opinions about it. But then also, coming from, kind of a preaching background, I'd be interested in your dad's perspective on this whole thing as well. But you don't give them any context. You just say, watch this and let's react.
And so then would I present the results tomorrow?
I think this is a new podcast. I think this is a whole new thing. I think it needs. I think it's a spin-off podcast.
Okay.
I think that maybe what we do is when I say we, I mean you.
Is it called Sasquatching with Susie?
Squatch it. Yeah, something along. There's something in there certainly, but I don't trust myself to riff on anything regarding anybody's mom. It just seems like.
Is it called?
I'm so bad at riffing.
Cryptozoology.
See, you don't need me. You don't need me for this. But
you're an idea man, Michael.
Yes, I think I proved that with Sasquatch Mountain. We just maybe you show them a new AI thing every week. But I definitely would. I'm definitely unironically interested in hearing their pure, unfiltered, with no context reaction to this particular video.
What I will try to do when I get done here, when we get done with this show today, what I will try to do, because my mom's leaving midday at some point, and then I'm actually getting on a plane and going to New York City tonight. So I'll try to play this for them and get their reaction maybe during my dad's lunch break, and see what they have to say about it. Here's my prediction. I think my dad will in some way connect it to Donald Trump because he connects everything to Donald Trump. Like we were watching CBS Sunday Morning yesterday, and there was a really lovely piece by Mo Rocca on there about the history of the Statue of Liberty, which I did not actually realize that the Statue of Liberty was originally created. At the base of the Statue of Liberty there are broken chains, and it was obviously a Statue of Liberty, but it was related to the fact that slavery had finally been outlawed in the United States. Like, it wasn't an immigration thing, except for the fact that Emma Lazarus, who wrote, of course, famously the inscription that's now at the base of the Statue of Liberty, Emma Lazarus had written that poem, or whatever you want to call it, about, bringing me your huddled masses yearning to be free. But it wasn't, the Statue of Liberty was not pitched as it wasn't an immigration thing. It just so happened that Ellis Island was set up like across the harbor from the Statue of Liberty. And so it became then very much associated with people coming to this country from other places. But that was not the original intent of the thing.
The intent, so the intent because it was a gift, right? I don't know really much about it.
It was a gift from France.
From France, and this was, I think I did remember that it was post-Civil War, but the gift was actually related to the end of slavery here?
I think it was just, I don't know if it was expressly an anti-slavery statement, but it was a statement about liberty, and it was not immigration. It was not like, this is the statue that will welcome people that are coming to America from other places. That was not the original intent. And in fact, of course, it was a gift from France, but the problem was America still needed to pay for building the entire sort of foundation and the whole, whatever you would call it, that the Statue of Liberty was going to go on, which is kind of huge itself.
I was just talking the other day. It's kind of like, it's like getting somebody a piece of like wall art for their home. It's like, you better really know these people and know that they have a space on their walls for something. Like, you can be a little
unframed.
Yeah, and it's unframed, right? Exactly.
So basically, like, we were going to get this statue, but the problem was, in order to build the place where it was going to go, that cost a bunch of money, and Congress had no interest in funding it. So they had a mini Statue of Liberty that they would bring around the Capitol, showing to people like, hey, we're going to get a big one of these. And we would need to raise the money to actually get the thing that it's going to go on paid for.
What is this? A Statue of Liberty for ants?
I think the Statue of Liberty tended to undermine.
That's right.
Whatever they say on
there
Spinal
are two
Tap.
good cultural references for that. Yeah.
But anyway, we're watching this piece. It's Mo Rocca, who I love, and it's really informative, and we're enjoying it. My mom and I are sitting there. My dad comes in from outside, whatever he was doing, and he's like, "Huh?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, he's going to enjoy this piece." And then he just goes like, "Well, I'm sure Trump's going to figure out a way to undo it or something." He starts muttering about Trump and then walks out the door.
Yeah.
I was like, Walt. I was like, again, I am very happy that my parents are on the side of this. That, my parents got obsessed with over the weekend? Somebody Somewhere, the show on HBO that is, starring Bridget Everett, who I'm actually on my way to interview. That's who I'm interviewing in New York this week, and also Manhattan, Kansas. And I told my folks, I was like, hey, there's this really great show called Somebody Somewhere, and I'm going to be going to interview the star of it. You guys might enjoy it. And I totally forgot that, like, I don't think you've watched that show, have you?
No, I haven't. Now, there are more and more people in my life who are disappointed or angry at me for not watching it.
Well, I don't think that's fair. I'm neither of those two, but I do think it's a really good show that you would enjoy. I'm constantly recommending it to people, including my parents. And then I remember, oh yeah, and I'm going to use a word here that we don't use on the show. Well, maybe I'll spell it. I forgot that there is a point in the show where Bridget Everett's character, her sister, kind of opens this sort of Etsy thing that becomes very, very popular. And what she's doing is she's selling pillows that say CUNT on them.
Okay.
It's like stitched onto the pillows. And like, there's just like a bunch of things like that I don't bat an eye to that, but then my 70-something-year-old parents, they don't see the CUNT word on a pillow a lot. That's
when you're watching it, you're not watching it with that filter of like, what if I was sitting down with my folks watching this?
So I was like at Becca's house over the weekend, and I called and I was like, so when I left my house on Friday after we had done a TBTL, my parents were starting to watch the show, but it was like the middle of the day. My dad was already falling asleep. It was like 2 p.m. My dad was falling asleep. There was something about watching that show when it's bright daylight out felt weird to me too. Like, I was like, this is the worst possible way for these people to get into this show that I really like and that I want them to enjoy, right? And so I leave and I'm like, this is never going to work. And then I call them the next day and I go, did you get through that episode? They go, we're on season 3.
Oh,
like,
wow.
They fully just binged the show. And they were like, it is a little fresh.
It is a little fresh.
But we're enjoying it. And then it was so cute because when I got home yesterday, it was all they wanted to talk about, the plot of the show. And another thing that's really beautiful about this show is that it is a story of a kind of a group of people that are living in Manhattan, Kansas, who are all friends, who are, most of them are, LGBTQ plus, or are somehow just not in the sort of right down the middle, I don't know what you'd call it, kind of typical Manhattan, Kansas person, right? She has this group of friends that are a really diverse group of folks, and they have all kinds of different things going on. But it's just this really awesome, loving portrait of what a group of friends like this looks like. It's also a group of people that my parents don't spend a huge amount of time considering in their day-to-day life. Folks who are like, I actually don't know if this character is trans or a drag king, and I don't honestly totally know where one stops and one begins. It's a person who definitely is living their life male. Who was a born female, assigned at birth or whatever you would say. But they just like, this character is named Fred. Fred is so great on the show. And they just, like, my parents are just like, love this Fred character. And I'm like, this is so great because my parents do not spend a huge amount of time in the company of people who are, LGBTQ plus and stuff. But they've like, it's so, I don't want to sound paternalistic or anything towards my parents, but it's so cool for them to get a chance to watch characters. And by the way, that's not even brought up about the character. That's not the point of the character's existence in the show.
Yeah.
There's just a friend of the main character, and they're on a softball team together, and it is literally never referenced.
Yeah, I like that.
And it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy that my parents are here for it. It makes me so happy that they're finding it entertaining and that they then want to talk about the characters. I just think it's so good. And it's kind of fun that I'm getting to go talk to Bridget Everett. I'm going to try to not... What are the chances in the interview that I'll start talking about my parents watching the show and I'll start crying? What's north of 100%?
Yeah. Actually,
have
have you gotten significantly choked up doing a CBS thing?
Not that I remember. Yeah. There might be an example that I'm forgetting. But it just definitely has the chance of being that, just because, again, and whatever. It's not like this is changing the world or something, but just this idea of my parents getting to just have the normalcy of other people's lives, particularly other people who have a very different lived experience than them. The normalcy of it reinforced for them, I just think is amazing and really good and really and that they're here for it. That they weren't like, we don't approve of the lifestyle of these, characters or whatever. They don't even give a shit. They're like, this was really funny when this person did that thing. And I'm just like, yes, it's working. The propaganda is working.
The propaganda, yeah. This is the future liberals want. That's so funny.
I mean, that's all we have at this point is somebody somewhere. We're losing on every front.
Right.
Except this one HBO show that is actually super heartfelt and is going to win over. Again, not that my parents needed particularly winning over. So then this is what happens after that, Andrew. My mom goes, because now my mom has watched the entire show. My dad has maybe, got up to he needs to watch 2 more episodes or whatever. But then we're sitting out on the deck last night and my mom goes, have you ever watched The Wire?
Yeah, you want to watch it together, Mom?
We did last night.
Oh.
We started The Wire, me and Walt and Suze. My mom was like, it's got 87% on Rotten Tomatoes.
She loves that.
It is the lens through which my mother...
How is it only 87%? How is it not 110?
Season 1. Season 2 gets a higher... I think
that's a travesty. Season 1 is the best.
Docs. You don't think the Docs were as good?
I thought the Docs... I do like some of the characters they introduced, and I only watched that show once all the way through. It's been years. But I just remember Season 1 being the high watermark, not just of that show, but of TV in general. And I just sort of felt like they couldn't. I felt like the Docs was a big step down. Yeah, I thought.
I did think the Docs were less compelling for me than Season 1. I felt like then Season 2 and 3 kind of got back on track for me. I would have to rewatch the Baltimore Sun season to try to remember if where that one listed for me, but.
Because there was schools. So the first one was just the low rises and everything. Then there was getting to know the universe. And then Season 2 was Doc. Season 3 was does that take place in the schools?
Maybe.
And then the newspaper, is that?
The newspaper was one of them.
Yeah.
Carcetti, the city government.
Oh, right. Then the Carcetti one. Yeah. Yeah. I just feel again, it's just, I think it's, whatever. I don't have to get into analyzing The Wire. But they just came out of the gate so strong and talk about a show that was This is going to be a difficult thing for you, the audience, to keep up with, but we trust you. And I just love it when a show trusts the audience. They don't over-explain. It's not corny. It's not Ice-T explaining the drug of the week on a procedural. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, this is going to be really confusing. You're going to have to keep up and maybe watch it again. Anyway, go ahead.
So we watched episode 1 with the closed captioning very much on. I've never seen the N-word represented in closed captioning this much in my life. And then me pausing it, I couldn't tell if it was annoyingly so or if it was helpful to just kind of contextualize a little bit. Like, okay, this is Jimmy McNulty. This is why everybody's mad at him in the first episode, because he's kind of like, he sort of pointed out that there were these guys, this criminal syndicate that was basically throwing cases, that they were having a lot of influence and that nothing was being done about it, which then launches this special detail that's going to go. And like what it was, Andrew, it was like I walked into a room somewhere that was full of dear friends of mine who I haven't thought about for 15 or 20 years. I was just like, Kima.
Yes, right?
You know what I mean? It was just like, oh my God. Like, it's just like, bunk.
Oh, man.
It's just like every single character.
I'm watching this week, aren't I? I'm getting back in.
Every single character, I was just like, oh my God, I love you. Like, I haven't thought about you in forever. And here you are. It was so much fun. Also, I totally forgot Michael B. Jordan is in it.
Oh,
He's one of the,
right. Yeah.
He's one of the kids, you know?
Yeah. That's how he kind of got his start, right?
I totally forgot that he was part of this, It's just like, anyway, it's just, cannot recommend highly enough if you have watched The Wire, rewatching it, or if you haven't watched it, starting it now. Again, it does take a little time investment to figure out what's going on, but it's really, really. I just did not ever see the day when me and my parents would be sitting down to watch The Wire on a Sunday night.
Yeah. Well, you've always said that's your favorite Max show. That's what you've always said. Just like you love
definitely.
A nice Sunday evening, you sit down with Max.
Yes. I love it. Right when I'm done watching the entire catalog of Man vs. Food, also available through Max.
Right.
Then I bop over to some Prestige Max. It's not television. It's Max.
Classic.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
All right, our top story today is that the TBTL-a-Thon is mere weeks away. You might even say week away. We will be in Friendship, Wisconsin, broadcasting from the Historical Society there on Main Street. And this has been something that has been in the works for a long time. We've been, trying to sort of monitor this stuff, I guess, from the internet. I think all three of us, Andrew, at some point or another have been on like a Google Street Map, just like walking around Friendship, Wisconsin, trying to figure out what the scene was and also where our billboard was going to be, because that's where our TBTL billboard currently is. By the way, love the photos of people driving up to the billboard and taking pictures in front of it.
Yes.
In fact, we got a photo like that this morning from our own John Sklaroff, TBTL employee numero uno.
Call it friendo.
Who is actually calling in live right now from Friendship, Wisconsin, where he finally, a TBTL employee, has actually been in Friendship, Wisconsin, can actually see what the scene is like. What is the scene like there, John?
Oh, it is a beautiful day in rural Wisconsin. I'm standing currently at the lake, at the park where we're going to have our picnic. It's incredible, guys. It's really incredible.
Nice. Do we know what the name of the lake is? It Friendship Lake or Lake Friendship? Or
I think it's Castle Rock. It's Castle Rock Park where we are. I guess that's a reveal. We haven't specifically mentioned. I think that's the name of the actual park. I should know.
Well, that's
off the
good.
top of my head.
Nothing bad ever happens in Castle Rock. That's good.
No, that's Castle Lee Rock you're thinking of. So it's a different situation.
Kathy Lee Rock.
But it's the lake here. This is interesting. This was new to me when I moved to the Midwest, because in Minnesota we have similar things. It's a part of the Wisconsin River, and actually, after talking to Michael at the Historical Society, because of the dam, they've dammed up the river. It created this lake, but it's a part of the actual river. It's not a standalone lake.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's where we're going to have our meetup on Friday, right? And just to reiterate for folks. It's absolutely free. Have we decided on the time yet, or are we still? I mean, we haven't announced the time.
We haven't announced it, but I think we've agreed on it. The three business boys, right?
Well, then,
Yeah,
so should we just say it's going to be 5 p.m. local? Is that going to be the meetup time?
Yep.
That's what I have it down as.
Okay, good. Wow, that silence really scared me. I thought maybe I had said something I shouldn't have said.
We're all being too polite. No, 5 p.m. Yes, and this is very TBTL in the way we're rolling this out. We're all kind of like searching our memories. When did we say 5 p.m.? So it's Castle Rock Park. That's the name of the park, John?
Yeah. Oh, see, I literally just drove past the welcome sign, but I believe that's the sign. The details will be in this week's newsletter, right, Andrew?
Yes, that's right.
If you're not subscribed, subscribe today.
Yeah, we're gonna have all the details for this meetup, and the meetup is on the Friday of the TBTL-a-Thon, which I believe is the 25th, if my memory is working right. 5 p.m. at this park, and we are sending out a little RSVP. Obviously, it's free to attend, but we're just trying to get a head count so we know how much food and stuff to bring. So anyway, that is what's going to be happening at the end of the Thon, but I'm very excited about what's going to happen during the Thon as well. So we're trying to set it up so that we're going to have a little broadcast studio. We're going to turn, like, I guess, a conference room or something in the Historical Society right there in downtown Friendship, in the heart of Friendship. We're going to turn this into a little radio studio at the Historical Society, and you've checked out the Historical Society.
Yeah.
How is this going to go?
Yeah. It's so cool. So I actually did a little tour with Michael, the guy that we've been in contact with. Very friendly, wonderful guy. He showed me around. The Historical Society at one point for a long time was a bank. So there's vaults in there in case we need to lock any important information up, or in case anyone needs to get locked in. I don't know what that's. We shouldn't do that.
You guys know I'm a werewolf. You know I'm a werewolf, right? You guys. So there is going to be a time when you're going to need to implement those vaults.
Is there a full moon? Is there a full moon while we're here?
Just my understanding.
Yeah. So I got to walk around Michael, see their office space, see the upstairs and the actual museum portion of it, which is really fascinating, really interesting stuff. And then in the front. The front of the building is this conference room area, and there's big windows that open up onto Main Street.
Wow.
I think we've kind of described it as it's real northern exposure vibes to it. I don't think there will be any grizzly bears or anything walking around, but it's got it's a really quaint little cute downtown in Friendship. There are 3 bars, literally 2 next door and 1 across the street.
All right.
So I don't know if that impacts
Wisconsin does historically lead the nation in alcohol consumed per capita, I believe.
I was bummed. Is one of those bars you're counting, though, the recently defunct Out of Luck Tavern? Because I saw. Did you guys see that? I think I sent you a screen cap. There's it looked like a small little bar, like neighborhood bar, maybe even a dive bar, and the sign says Out of Luck Tavern, and I think it's a guy maybe pulling his empty pockets out of his pants.
How could a place like that go out of business?
That's what I want to know. It looks so much like my kind of place, but when I was looking at it on Google Maps the other day, it said it was closed down.
It might be, Out of Luck might have been one. I didn't note all the names of all. One was Family Affair Restaurant was one of them. But you say a dive bar, Andrew. I'm pretty sure every bar in this community would classify. With no disrespect, I love this town, driving around it. But I think they would all be "quote-unquote" dive bars.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
figured.
Look at this. They've got casino games in the Last Call Pub and Grub.
Last Call Pub and Grub. Ooh, I haven't heard of that.
We'd love to see that. It looks like you can play those slot machines. We can support the state of Wisconsin educational programs, one spin at a time.
You know, one thing, John, this is going to get a little bit personal, and I hope it's okay to say this, but when we brought you on board, when we knew that we wanted to go independent, of course, we knew that we wanted to do it, the 3 of us, but we had to, set up a proper job description for you, and I'm pretty sure there's a line in there that says other duties as assigned or something along the lines of that. That's kind of boilerplate. Other duties include being the designated driver for the business boys, because I believe this town is about 10 miles away from where we're actually staying. Is that correct? So we're going to need you to be ferrying me back and forth.
Yeah, I did drive. Excuse me if there's some background noise. There's some people driving in and out of the park. I did drive from from the Historical Society to our Airbnb to see how I go. I think it's about 9-10 miles. But super straight shot, like a couple turn 2 or 3 times and you're there. I think, Andrew, though, because that will be after hours, that's no longer other duties assigned.
No.
Well,
I think that's only during that's 9 to 5.
There's got to be a Friendship Wisconsin cab service that we could avail. Maybe we become friends with them. I can already tell you it's a guy with a cell phone.
I was going to say, if there's a cab service, it is a person named Ted, probably,
Yes.
and we will get to know him well.
When you call him, he will just answer his cell phone, and he will come get you and take you to where you need to go.
Yes.
Unless he's taking Doreen somewhere already.
Well, Doreen, I think, is on Wednesdays, right? Because she has bingo on Wednesdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because I like Genevieve a lot, Andrew. I'll make sure nothing bad happens to you. How's that?
Thank you. I
Genevieve's
appreciate
such
it.
A wonderful person. I'll make sure you're safe.
Great.
Excellent. So the Historical Society, so this room that we're going to be broadcasting from, it opens right out, or it looks right out onto Main Street.
Yeah, it's right there.
Perfect.
There's it's right there. It's really incredible stuff.
Nice.
You guys are well. Luke might be mad if I brought this up, but does this mean that if tens wanted to make the pilgrimage while we're broadcasting from there, they could stand outside the window and look at us?
Absolutely. I'm not mad about that.
There are blinds. There are dark blinds if we want privacy. Because when I first got there, the Historical Society's closed on Mondays. Michael made special appointment to come meet me after he and his partner, his wife, I believe, just came back from Reykjavik. They spent some time in Iceland, and he's still jet lagged, and he still met me there, which is really sweet of him.
Nice.
And when I tried to poke my head in the window to see what I could see of the space, nothing was visible. So if we want to close the blinds, we could be incognito. But if we don't, if we want to open,
I want to be Nito.
certainly, folks.
I want us to be cognito. Okay, because
Cognito.
this is my lifelong dream of broadcasting from a storefront on a Main Street USA. It's finally going to happen. And yes, if some tens that were in the area wanted to stop by and wave at us through the window, I think that would be actually really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we do know, as you mentioned or alluded to earlier, Luke, there are tens who are making the pilgrimage out to the billboard right now to take photos of themselves. In fact, I have a voicemail I'm going to play for you guys in a little bit from somebody who just made the trek over the holiday weekend. John, what is the state of the billboard? Because it was my understanding that maybe some of the locals were revolting and kind of trying to tear it down like a Saddam Hussein statue.
It's in total disarray. It's totally I cackled. Here's my experience of the billboard. I was coming into town, and the way I was coming, my Google Maps said turn right here to get to the Historical Society. But Luke, as you alluded to, like we've been living in Street View over the last several months as we've been planning this thing, and so as I'm approaching this four-way stop, I'm like, wait a minute, I know exactly where I am, and I ignored the maps, and I went straight instead of turning right, and then I made a little U-turn, and it's staring at me. You guys were staring at me, and it
oh my gosh,
I feel giddy just thinking about it because, like, I know we talked about this recently on the show. Like, you talk about this independence thing and like being here. It's like we just did that. We did that against all better marketing judgment and maybe budgetary judgment stuff. We did it, and then, you know what? Totally worth it. Totally justified because I looked at this thing and it brought me so much joy to see you two staring down at me from the roadside. I lost it. It was so good. It was amazing.
We have still, as far as I understand, Andrew, received 0 calls.
From
on the phone number from people, from, let's say, strangers to the show. Like, as far as anyone calling the number, that is so far has yet to happen.
Yeah, so for folks who don't know what the billboard looks like, if you just happen to be like kind of dropping in on today's episode, this billboard does not mention anything about us being a podcast. It looks like we're like kind of injury lawyers, and we're standing there with our arms crossed, and it just says cranky, bored, call, and it has our phone number 206-414 TBTL, right? Or is it the numbers? I can't remember. Did we put TBTL?
I think it says TBTL.
Yeah, of course. And that's the only reference to actually who we are, of course, is in the phone number TBTL. And so we were thinking that people might just call 206-414 TBTL and see what's up. But so far, I have been keeping an eye on the voicemail line, and I'm not seeing like a bunch of random calls coming in. It's still mostly our listeners who are like, you know, kind of familiar with what's going on. But I'll remain hopeful.
Can I tell you guys a quick story about Bill?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry.
Do it.
A quick story about billboards. Years ago, when my wife and I started dating, we were on a little road trip out to Boston, actually, just to visit my sister and some friends out there. And this was the part of the relationship where I was always trying to make her laugh to show her how that was worth her time. I still haven't proved that yet, but that's besides the point.
More jokes. That's what I've learned. When
more jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When the partner is sort of not reacting well to the early jokes, just lay them on
And
constantly.
Keep peppering them.
Yes.
Sometimes louder too.
Louder. Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm not known for being a quiet person. So we're driving past this billboard. She was driving, and we're going past this billboard, and it was a religious billboard, right? I don't know, it was something about like need Jesus in your life, call this. And me being the Jewish guy from New York, I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I called this number? So I called the billboard, and like nobody picked up. Immediately after I hung up, almost immediately, they called me back and proceeded to call me 3-4 times a day for the next 3 or 4 days while we were in Boston. And the entire time, Jess just kept looking at me like, well, this is what you get for being an idiot. But I thought it was, at the time, genius. So if I guess the power out of the story, even though there's not any, sorry, it would be if I saw the TBTL billboard in the wild, I would call it to impress my girlfriend.
Right.
But you're saying we haven't gotten any of those.
Not that
no one's.
No, not that I've seen. Like I say, I do have a voicemail from outside the billboard, which is pretty fun. But that's from a 10. That's from somebody who knew what she was getting into when she traveled out there.
Yeah.
Do you want to play that play that VMail for us at some point, Andrew?
Yeah, I can play it now if you want. We can. Let's just do this now. I think I was ready for it at the end of the show, but we can do this right now. This is from listener Laura.
Hello, friendos. This is listener Laura, usually of Madison, Wisconsin, but currently planted next to the billboard at the Two Brothers Family Restaurant, where they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they offer truck parking and showers. And I drove up here this morning because I'm an independent person, and it is Independence Day. So today seemed like the right day to come up and see it myself. I'll send you guys a picture. Anyway, I just think it's really, really fun that you guys did this. It is not at all what I expected, but it is, I find it just delightful. So what you do is so important, and I will be listening to you later. Bye.
You can feel the energy just coming off of
I
Laura,
love it.
because when you're basking in the power of the billboard, it kind of flows through you.
I'm also really excited, and John, I guess you know this too, having been there, that this place, Two Brothers Restaurant, is operational. There is a roadside restaurant by our sign.
Yeah.
Because remember, when we were trying to get this billboard put up, that was a whole other thing. We were like enhancing on like Google Street View of this restaurant to try to figure out if it was open or not, or if it had like a tarp over the sign or whatever. But I'm at their website now. It seems extremely operational, which again, somehow just, I just like that our billboard is by a going concern. It's not just by like a overgrown, abandoned, like parking lot or something.
I think part of the trouble, Luke, was when we're looking at Street View, if you're going one direction on the county highway, it's like from the year 2018 or whatever, and it shows closed. And if you're looking from the other view, it shows like a different restaurant in the same place that's open. So there was that, is it or isn't it? But yeah, no, I think it's definitely very much active. We'll have to for sure get a meal out there. That'll be interesting.
Dude, I'm looking
when we walk in the door.
Yeah.
Do the staff or customers look at you guys like it's the guys on the billboard? That's what.
Will you bring that suit, Andrew, please?
Well, I've been avoiding that because I'm trying to figure out, but it sort of seems like we kind of have to bring the suits. My suit is not super well fitting, so it'd be a very uncomfortable brunch. But
let's do waist up photos.
But
because you're thinking we need to wear the suits, stand in front of. Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, also we should wear the suits for a photo in front of the billboard, but also it would be really something to strut into the Two Brothers diner dressed in our suits and then see if every head turns.
And the whole time we're back to back like we are.
The whole time we never unclench our arms in front of us.
Nice.
We're trying to eat eggs with our arms crossed.
Yes. John has to spoon feed us everything because we have our arms permanently in that position. By the way, I'm looking at the menu of Two Brothers Restaurant. They list egg-cellent omelet.
Oh, good.
Egg-cellent omelet, sizzling skillets, and then they've got French toast and pancakes. That's just the breakfast menu, guys. I mean, this thing, there's all kinds of stuff they're doing at Two Brothers Restaurant. This is very exciting. I feel like this has to become one of our hangs while we're there. Like, we have to become kind of locals.
Absolutely.
What's it got in the Heart Smart section of that menu there, Luke?
Well, they've got refreshing salads, Andrew. You know that's
great.
right where I go for these things. They got a chef salad. They've got a California grilled chicken salad, a Mexican salad, a chicken BLT salad, a buffalo chicken salad, a Tuscan steak salad, and then a low-cal chicken or hamburger plate. In the kids' corner, we've got mac and cheese, cheeseburger, grilled cheese, chicken strips, hot dog, and spaghetti.
Okay.
I like it. We're just doing promos now for Two Brothers Restaurant in Friendship, Wisconsin.
I love the logo for Two Brothers Restaurant is so great. It's some very obvious clip art of two guys, like the silhouette of two men. I assume these are the brothers. And the clip art, they must have been searching for two men triumphantly get to the top of a mountain because they both have their arms up triumphantly, and then it just has the number 2 over it. Two Brothers Restaurant.
And the Google Maps, when you look at it from the other direction, it's clip art of a turtle that looks like he's having some sort of distress, some sort of gastric distress, sitting on a toilet and shaking. Yeah, it's funny. It's just like it depends on when the photo was taken.
Very much about the angle. Very much about the angle. So, well, I mean, I have to say that this, like I said this to you in a text message this morning, John, like I'm never not delighted by seeing a photo of this billboard, seeing a photo of you with the billboard, the listeners with the billboard. I love that our contact at the Historical Society, Michael, who I've only pretty much emailed with and maybe had one phone conversation with, is delightful and is going to be super helpful. And just everything about this seems to be coming together in a way that's just really making me excited about this coming week.
Yeah. Can I pull the curtains back on TBT business for a moment? I'm the one when things are slightly amiss in our meetings that's like trying my best not to freak out, and I don't do a good job of it. I'm like, well, we got to redo this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And you, Luke, especially, but Andrew, you too. But Luke, you say it's going to work out. And then you call the Historical Society, I should preface by saying there were some internet concerns, right? And that's how we landed in part at the Historical Society. And it's just like, you say it's come together. This is 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks, the three of us will be here broadcasting the show.
Yes.
And it's just like, it really seems to be like it's come together. And it's like, you plan these things for months, and then you drive here, and there's a billboard of you two looking down the highway, and there's a building where we're going to do this from that seems like to fit exactly our needs and just kind of the vision of it. So it's really, I'm just grinning ear to ear the whole time I've been talking to you guys and just driving around here, because it's like, it's so fun and cool to see this as, it's like, we did it from your parents' basement, Luke, and it's like, okay, we know the technology, we know the space. We did it from your house last year, Luke. We know the technology, we know the space. And it's like, all right, this year is the curveball year for us as an independent operation. And it seems like it's going to work. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Great.
Well, I want to give Andrew some big credit on this too, because there was a moment in time where we realized that the plan was we were going to do the shows from the same Airbnb that we had rented and kind of make it, just our central hub for everything. And then we learned that the internet there was like incredibly, incredibly slow. So then we were like, well, maybe we can go do it from town. But then we actually were having a really hard time figuring out what was in Friendship, Wisconsin. And it was like, is there actually a downtown core or somewhere we could do this? And we were really, really striking out. And Andrew had the bright idea to just Google the post office of Friendship, Wisconsin.
Right.
And then you jumped on there virtually, Andrew, and then you started wandering around. And then immediately this whole thing opened up for us. But had you not had that thought, I don't know what we might be doing this in my parents' basement again.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I did because I really was not sure if there was going to be any place when we heard how, I did not know that you could have negative internet speeds, but somehow the place where we were originally looking had negative internet speeds. If you tried to stream the show, the internet actually kind of got sucked up into a black hole. So, so we were a little bit, trying to figure out at wit's end, trying to figure out what to do. And so I don't know why I thought that, but I was like, well, where's the post office? I remember thinking, well, there probably isn't even a post office, but then isn't there something about a classic post office building that just gives you hope? Flat roof, that classic font. What do you call it? Like, don't post offices usually have where it says U.S. Post Office? Isn't it usually like those floating letters, kind of like you have on the outside of your studio, Luke? It's quite
I don't know what the
vibe.
name for that is, but yes, it's very comforting. It just tells you everything is going to be okay.
Exactly.
It tells you you're going to be waiting in a pretty substantial line.
Yeah, exactly. With a very, not heavy, but awkward box that you're going to have to kind of sometimes hold on your knee a little bit and then hopefully get close to the counter just so you can set it up there. But John, honestly, love the energy. Love that you're down there. Thank you for making the trip down there. Really, really appreciate
I'm so
it.
happy
That's
to
great.
Be here. Yeah. No, happy to be here. Happy to see how things are coming about. Happy to be at the park for the, where we'll be hosting the picnic again on the 25th at 5 p.m. So please, I'm going to call out, if you're not signed up for the newsletter and you're interested in going to that, sign up. So this week you can RSVP so we make sure we have enough food for folks and know how many people to expect. Because I think that's going to be, after the Thon, which is always a very exhilarating, but also honestly, a kind of exhausting experience for all of us. Obviously, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement around it. It's always the end of the week where it's like we're ready to crash. But I think having the picnic this year, like doing this, is gonna be it's gonna be such a celebration of the community, of the friends of TBTL. So I'm so excited that we decided to do that, and people are gonna come out for that. So we just being here at the park, it's incredible. So it's really awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
I did have one thought, which was, we are planning this kind of celebratory thing for Friday, assuming that we will have money in the TBTB budget for like hot dogs and buns and Kool-Aid or whatever. Like we better go okay. Like we better actually manage to hit our goals and kind of keep this financial ship afloat, because we're definitely already promising in the hundreds of dollars of free food for the tens that come out to the picnic in Friendship, Wisconsin. So let's just cross our fingers that this thing works out.
Yeah, if you get to the picnic site and we're handing out like little mini bags of frozen peas, things probably didn't go as well during the Thon as we had hoped.
If you could respect our privacy during this difficult time of realizing we don't have jobs anymore.
Exactly. We also got to hope it doesn't rain, huh? Guess we got to start watching.
Well, it's got a cover though, right?
Now that you said that.
Oh, yeah. Is there a cover, John? Is it like an area?
No, so we rented the pavilion space.
Nice. Oh.
So we have a pavilion space.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got billboard.
We're
billboard boys. Of course, we're not going to be doing this out in the open. We have a pavilion.
No, would two guys with a billboard be doing the show in the rain, or doing the get together in the rain like commoners?
Good grief! What was I thinking?
And I should also mention for folks who are coming out, if you're interested, there is a public beach here. So if you bring it, you or you're bringing your fives with you or whatever, if you want to plan to be in the water, assuming the weather is nice. I assume, Andrew, you'll just be floating in a tube with like a beer in one hand and a hot dog in the other, just floating around the river, maybe. But that's available too.
Yeah, I love me a clothing optional river. So yeah.
Yes. We cannot get this man to put a shirt on most of the time. So right. I'm sure it's going to be a lost cause on Friday. So, all right. Well, John, just want to echo Andrew's sentiment. Thank you for making the trip down there. And thanks for the enthusiasm. Hearing the excitement in your voice, even when we weren't on the air yet, you were just driving around and you had us on speakerphone. You were getting so hyphy that it was making me feel really hyphy about this.
I'm excited for it, guys. This is going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing you two in person and doing this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see the tens in person, too.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, thanks, John. Drive safe, okay?
Great. All right, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Ooh, I love that sound. That makes me excited for, if, again, the technology cooperates. The plan is, and again, this is, we're going to have to kind of see what it's like once we're all set up at the Historical Society, but the plan is we are going to be trying to stream the show live for the Thon week, as we typically do now, and we are going to be trying to grab phone calls. And that little sound, that little hanging up sound, Andrew, it's like a very pleasant sense memory for me of when we're talking to the tens.
It's such a nice sound too. I'm with you. I love it because it's like such a gentle landing, as opposed to like I also like the click sound of somebody hanging up too, as long as it's not too angry. Have you ever had that thing, Luke? Did you ever have an opportunity? My friend Paul, Paul, he always wanted to do this. He always wanted to have one of those cinematic moments at a phone booth where like you're so mad, you're like talking on the phone, but then you take the phone, you go to hang up, but you kind of like slam it down like 4 times in a row or whatever at a phone booth. Ever have the opportunity to do that?
No, but I would love that. That was a big part of the sort of, the big part of the movies of our youth were somebody at a phone booth, or else there was the thing that actually precedes us, I think, which I don't know if this had to do with the days when you'd call the operator and you would tell them Hawthorne 532 or something. But I feel like there used to be a trope in movies where somebody would just be like toggling that thing, going like, hello, like they were trying to, you know what I mean? Like what is that even? What do we even call that?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's not the button. What do we call that on the phone? Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
this
the
is
thing
what
that
happens.
you would hang up. I don't even know that it have
the
a
receiver.
name. Yeah.
The receiver is the thing you would talk into.
The little
and then
hang
you
up
place
button,
it.
I think. It just kind of. I know it's not a button, but the little
particularly
device.
on the payphone, sometimes people would be, because that thing it wasn't even like a button. It was like a flap.
It was like a metal flap. Yeah, I mean, I can totally feel it. Absolutely.
And you'd be like hitting it up and down, going, hello, 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 like
yep.
trying to get through to someone. Like, I never understood how that was going to help you get through to somebody.
What about this? I'm trying to think if this is from a movie. Is this a movie scene that actually you've told me about that you find really endearing? I can picture like Jimmy Stewart and somebody else, both like him and a woman, both using the same phone, but it's one of those old-fashioned phones with like the kind of the two-piecer where like you would talk into one piece and hold the little horn up to your ear. But I can picture him and
It is
woman.
a Jimmy Stewart movie.
Yeah, and is this so evocative in my mind because you've talked about this scene before?
I wonder, but I think also it is pretty iconic. It's from It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes,
and
I've
what
never
happens
seen
is,
that. So it must
okay,
be
so
from you.
Jimmy Stewart he's visiting Donna Reed's house. This is his love interest, but he has not expressed it as such. He just is sweet on her. And while he's there, a guy named Sam Wainwright, who's kind of a friend of his, but also slightly a romantic rival for her affection, calls, and they're on the phone. But they're sharing the same, like it's an old-fashioned telephone. It's, like you said, it's got that little ear kind of thing, and then the part you're talking to. And them having to be very close together to hear Sam Wainwright on the phone is the closest they've ever been in each other's physical presence. And it's sort of like, they both kind of just get lost in the closeness of talking to each other. It's it's a very cute scene. It's also kind of not a troubling scene, but it's also like one of those scenes where they like end up having a weird argument, which is only there to serve the plot of the movie, which is like he's clearly in love with her, she's clearly in love with him, but for some reason he doesn't want to quite admit it. So he's trying to be a cool guy, and then she gets her feelings hurt, and then he storms out, and then you think, will they ever be together? Spoiler alert, folks. And I do feel comfortable spoiling It's a Wonderful Life.
It's on my list. It's on the list.
They do end up together.
Ah, damn it. All right.
We are doing this weekend, this coming weekend, I'm having my siblings over, and I've been planning out the weekend, maybe over planning it. But one of the things I want to do is a Burbank Family Film Festival where we basically watch some of these truly ludicrous movies we used to watch as kids. Like there's a Christian musical called High Tops that we used to rent from the Evangel Christian bookstore. This is when we were all homeschooled at the same time, which is to say unschooled. And I went and I bought the download of this Christian musical High Tops and downloaded it to my computer so we can watch it on Saturday night. I was tempted to say we should watch It's a Wonderful Life, but we all watch that every Christmas. I don't think we need to watch that in the middle of July. But I'm trying to, maybe some Anne of Green Gables, maybe some Pride and Prejudice, which my sister Sarah used to call Pret and Pret.
The miniseries or the miniseries, right? Not the movie.
I think it was a BBC miniseries.
Yeah. Because you were kids. Yeah, the BBC miniseries. Of course,
I didn't actually watch. It was a little after my time of like being home watching movies, like with the fam. But I know my sisters were really into that one. They were really into Anne of Green Gables. I think the Canadian version, which was starring, I think Megan Follows was maybe her name. But anyway, it's gonna be a fun weekend. I've got it all planned out. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be very exciting.
I'm surprised you. So High Tops though, still a going concern. You can still find it. Like you didn't have to go on the black
dark
market.
web.
Yeah, the dark web.
Well, no, I went to you know what I had to go to, Andrew? Salty.com, as in PSALTY.com, as in Salty the Psalm Book.
Oh my God.
Salty the Singing Song Book. There was this whole universe of like Christian musicals that me and my siblings were in that were all, I think, written by the same married couple. So there was like Salty the Psalm Book. He was a singing book of psalms that would show up and teach kids lessons about Christ. And then there was also Colby, the Christian song Computer, different guy. I think the same company was creating all this stuff, and they would write these musicals, and then they would like license the music to churches. And so if your church wanted to put on a Colby or a Salty musical, you would, I think, pay some kind of a fee, and then you would get the music and the backing tracks, and then you'd stage your version of one of these things. They also happen to be the people that created the Christian musical High Tops. Yeah. So you go to their website, you pay $11.99. So I now have a bill on my debit card from Salty.com for the $11.99 download of High Tops the musical.
I understand that they're trying to do a play on Psalm, but the fact that it's Salty is just so sublime. Like he should be so cantankerous. He should be be smoking. He should be salty.
Yes. He should be like the I'm just a Bill, but on hard times.
But hard times, like a little bit, not drunk,
unshaven,
but a little, unshaven. Yeah.
Has still has there's a half-consumed whiskey out from last night.
Right, exactly.
Smoking
Working
a
on
cigarette.
and kind of yelling at the kids a little bit, or certainly just like very leave me alone kids attitude.
It would have made it so much more interesting than the ones that we actually did. I don't think I was ever in a Salty production, but I know my sister Sarah was Charity Church Mouse in one of the Salty productions. She was the big star of that one. I mean, that was the lead role, Charity Church Mouse. Are you kidding me?
I'm just writing down "Don't Salt My Game." Possible show title.
I love it.
Maybe smooth it out later, but there you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm excited, and I'm glad we got to hear from John down there.
Yes, I think you can all hear the actual legit excitement in his voice. So this is going to be a very fun week for the Thon, and again, we hope you can tune in. And critically, we hope you can support TBTL, so I can still have money to download Christian musicals from the 1980s.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's going to do it for today's show. I will be coming to you all from New York City tomorrow, post Bridget Everett interview. And by the way, what's interesting about this, Andrew, is one of those times where I'm going to take a red-eye flight to New York City and then take a taxi cab to where we're filming the shoot. So that's always an adventure. We'll see how that goes. But I'll have a full report tomorrow. In the meantime, have a great Monday. Take care of yourselves. Please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
George, Sam wants to speak to you.
Hi, Sam.
Well, George Baileyovsky. Hey, a fine pal you are. What are you trying to do, steal my girl?
Oh, what do you mean? Nobody's trying to steal anybody's girl. Here's Mary.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I want to talk to
Here,
both
you.
of you. Tell Mary to get on the extension.
You talk.
Mother's on the extension. I am not. We can both hear. Come here. We're listening, Sam.
Well, look, I have a big deal coming up that's going to make us all rich. George, do you remember that night in Martini's bar when you told me you'd read someplace about making plastics out of soybeans? Chili beans. Shut up, will you? You remember, out of soybeans.
Yeah, soybeans, yeah.
Well, listen, Dad snapped up the idea, and he's going to build a factory outside of Rochester. How do you like that?
Rochester? Well, why Rochester?
Well, why not? Can you think of anything better?
Well, I don't know. Just why not right here? You remember that old tool and machinery works? Well, you tell your father you can get that for a song, and all the labor he wants, too. Half the town was thrown out of work when they closed down.
Was that so? Well, I'll tell him. Hey, that sounds great. Ah, baby, I knew you'd come through. Now, here's the point. Mary, you're in on this, too. Now, listen. Have you got any money?
Money? Yeah. Well, a little.
Well, now, listen. I want you to put every cent you've got into our stock. Do you hear? And George, I may have a job for you. That is, unless you're still married to that broken-down building and loan. Well, this is the biggest thing since radio, and I'm letting you in on the ground floor. Oh, Mary.
Well, I'm here.
Will you tell that guy I'm giving him the chance of a lifetime? Do you hear? The chance of a lifetime.
He says it's the chance of a lifetime.
Now, you listen to me. I don't want any plastics, I don't want any ground floors, and I don't want to get married ever to anyone. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you're...
George.
Power out.